Good morning, dear students. I hope that you are fine and safe, inshallah. Today we are going to talk about the first lesson in quarter 4, which is about atoms, elements, molecules, and compounds. Okay, so as we know that everything around us is made up of matter. So matter exists in everything. We can find that the matter as gases, as liquids, as solids, and so on. So matter is anything that has mass and take up the space or take volume. Matter including all solids, liquids, gases, and we said that it's made up of atom. The smallest building unit, we call it atoms. There are over 100 different types of atom, and we can find them in something called periodic table, and we call them an element. The element like iron, oxygen, carbon, which is only made up of only one kind of atom. So if I'm seeing only one kind of atom, I'm saying that this is an element. But if I have two or more different types of atoms, so this is something different. We're gonna take it later. And then we're gonna find something called molecule. What's the meaning of molecule? As you can see here in these two pictures, you can find that there is here the same kind of atom, the same color, and in the other picture we have two different colors or two different types of atoms. So what's the meaning of molecule? Molecule is two or more atoms that are held together by a chemical bond and act as a unit. So if I'm considering oxygen, O2, like here, if I'm having two atoms of oxygen attached together by chemical bond, we are going to call this molecule. It exists at this because they are so active, so they react all the time and attached by chemical bond all the time. So this is a molecule. Then we have when the molecules join together, they forming something different called substance. So the substance is a matter with a composition that is always exists as it is the same, like gold, like salt, like water. You can find them as they are all the time attached together. Then we're gonna find the elements and compound. We have to differentiate between the elements and compound because as we can see in the picture here, we have the same kind of atom, so I'm calling this an element because there's none of atoms or different atoms in this picture. But here you can find that there is two kind of atoms attached together also by a chemical bond, so we are going to call this a compound. So here oxygen, O2, we consider this as a molecule, but this is an element too. Element made up of two atoms of oxygen, okay? And here we have this picture. It's H2O or water. It's a kind of compound made up of two of hydrogen. We have two atoms of hydrogen here and one atom of oxygen. So they are two different types. So we're gonna call them compound. And this picture also representing us how the compound look like. You can find here two different colors here, so you know that this is a compound. And here also we have three different colors, so three different types of atom. Also it's a compound. And here also this is 1, 2, so they are not the same. We have another compound. And if we are going to see here, this is H2O, one atom of oxygen and two atoms of hydrogen forming water compound. And here we have an oxygen. I'm illustrating the atoms as two because we said that the oxygen is so active, so it acts as a molecule all the time. So you're gonna find this is an element of oxygen, but it exists as molecule, not only one atom, but it's also two atoms. So to describe the molecule formulate, when we describe the molecule, we use formula. Formula mean how the chemical formula of the water is. So we know that the water is H2O, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. And here also carbon dioxide or CO2. So you have here only one atom of carbon and two atoms of oxygen. And here we have carbon monoxide or CO. It's only one kind or one atom of carbon and other atom of oxygen. And methane and oxygen and also hydrogen peroxide and ozone. Okay, so let's see this. We have here one kind of atoms or two kinds. Yes, it's only one kind, two atoms of oxygen. So we are going to call this molecule or compound or element. Yes, sure. It's sure a molecule because they are two atoms attached together by chemical bonds, so we're gonna call this a molecule. But is it atom? Is it an element or a compound? It's actually an element because it's two atoms but from the same kind of atoms, which is oxygen. But if we look here, we have two different kind. We have hydrogen atom and oxygen atom, so we're gonna call this a compound. Okay, when we see this, can we consider this as a molecule or we gonna consider this as an atom or what? Yes, it's also another kind of molecule, which is three atoms attached together by a chemical bond, and they are forming ozone, which is O3, and also we're gonna call this an element, not a compound. Okay, so the compounds are new substances which get formed from two or more different elements through a chemical reaction. Their properties are different to the properties of element because if we notice that the hydrogen is a gas and the oxygen is a gas, when they react together forming water, they're forming something else which is a liquid. So when two elements react together, they can form something else which is not the same state. Like the hydrogen and oxygen, they form water molecule which is liquid and formed a compound. The periodic table. There are 117 known elements. We organize them and classify them in something called periodic table, taking all these elements in. So each element has its own chemical symbol that is used all over the world. For example, for oxygen, the chemical symbol is O. According to their properties, elements can be grouped into three groups, which is the first one is metals, and the second one non-metals, and the third one is metalloid. Each column contains elements which are similar to each other and called group, with the number indicate on the top, and the rows across called periods. So if you are gonna see this periodic table, you're gonna find them in two groups. All the columns represent group A, group 2A, 2B, T, and so on. So we are sorting them into groups according to their properties and characters. So we're gonna find metals, metalloid, and non-metals. So at the end we have to summarize this, that the matter exists all over the world in everything around us. It could be solid, liquid, or gas, and we sort them into two types. The first one is pure substance, which we call them atoms, and we can find them if they are the only kind of atom together, joining together. So this is an element describing it. And if we have two different kind of atom attached by chemical bond, we're gonna call them compound. And matter also could be as a mixture.